Not something I particularly like. Another war of succession. Good to know things didn't get boring when I was gone. Back before I was locked up, Cyrodiil didn't even seat an empire. And Skyrim wasn't, you know, in this bloody mess. Sometimes, it's hard to even fathom how much this world has changed. And what was it again? The Oblivion Crisis? I would have never expected the Daedra to invade Tamriel again. I certainly hope Molag Bal doesn't host another plane meld. That would be unpleasant. Thanks. But honestly, I don't think any Daedra would consider invading ever again. They got their backsides handed to them. Turns out a bunch of Nawaz shouldn't be underestimated. It's a term the Dunmer use to describe mortals. It has a negative connotation, but, well, that's kind of the point of what I was saying. And, yes, I heard the stories about the last Septum turning into a dragon to fight Mehrunes Dagon. But it was all a team effort. Martin Septum couldn't have done it alone. I got reacquainted with the world as soon as I got back to the castle. Well, at least I know the basic stuff. Not much, but still.
Let's keep moving.
Oh? What is it? Well, they're as old, if not older than I am, so they've got to be doing something right. Their werewolves, though, aren't my thing. Well, I've heard stories. Some of their elite members, the Circle, are granted their so-called gift. My father also used to rant about them. Too filthy. Anyway, from the looks of it now, they seem like they're doing okay. They're in better shape than Winterhold, that's for sure. But what do you think? Okay then. Good. I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad we're here together, if you know what I mean. All right. They're a murderous cult. I don't know how to put it any other way. And again, with all cults and Daedra and the like, it certainly does have its appeal to some. I'm kind of surprised my father didn't invite them for an evening meal. Well, thinking about it, they either weren't around back then, or they weren't exactly a big deal. I'm also aware this Sithis isn't necessarily a Daedra, but he may as well be thought of as such. Debauchery, murder, death, chaos. Those definitely sound like Daedric things to me. Though, if you do want to go on ahead and try seeking them out, I won't stop you. But it really depends on whether this Daedric stuff fits your fancy. Okay then. I can see where you're coming from. Come on. We've got other adventures waiting for us anyway.
What did you need?
Do you need something? I've told you this before, back before I was, you know, trapped in a coffin for who knows how long. The College of Winterhold was the first place I'd go for any magical or historical thing. Unlike a lot of guilds, this one is actually pretty old. It's as old as, if not older, than I am. It and Winterhold are kind of in a sorry state right now, though, which wasn't the case before. Did you know that Winterhold used to be a much bigger, bustling city? Well, turns out someone's also a bookworm. Winterhold used to be the capital of Skyrim, way before cities like Solitude and Whiterun. And before Cyrodiil seated an empire, the Nords actually had one of their own. High King Borgus was one of their monarchs, and he came from Winterhold. It's uncertain how his death came to be about, but it happened to be at the same time as the Wild Hunt. All right. I didn't know you knew that. Winterhold then saw even more disputes and conflict, but the city always came out on top. Then I wake up centuries later to find out that everything is just gone.
Yes? What did you need?
All right. Well, I don't know much. I mean, most of the knowledge I knew of Tamriel came from books. And back then, I guess the Thieves Guild wasn't particularly relevant. Or they didn't even exist. Anyway, they just seemed like a shady bunch of thieves to me. Professionals or not, stealing is stealing. You can't deny it. For me, though, I guess stealing from the rich is slightly better. But in a way, you end up being just as bad as they are. I can't argue with that logic. It might not hurt to try this out. It's nice. I wouldn't have any qualms about living here. Sometimes, it's nice just to get away from the bustling cities. A lot of them feel so cramped. Except Whiterun, but you get what I mean. Even open cities like that tend to get a bit too crowded sometimes. Especially Riften. By my ancestors, don't get me started on that. It's too... and the people there always look nervous, which makes me nervous. The countryside is just different, you know? This must be Bleak Falls Barrow. I like what they've done with the place. It's well lit, but decrepit, dusty, and webby. Kind of like the castle, actually. Though, I think the Draugr might one day benefit from some janitorial duties. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't I be? It's a Nordic ruin, an old burial tomb with some enfeebled undead walking about. And maybe some bandits, but no big deal. This may be one of your first trips to places like these, but not for me. I've been to these kinds of ruins before, back in my own time. And the Draugr were gullible, to say the least. Meaning, they're kind of stupid, and easy to deal with. Still though, let's keep our guard up. While I am lax, it's never a good idea not to stay focused on a dungeon crawl. So, let's move, and find us that... whatever it is.
Clouds don't look too good.
What's that? A tablet? That's probably what we've been looking for, but it certainly does look underwhelming. There seems to be some inscriptions on it, though. Even I can't make them out. Too ancient. Even for me. Anyway, let's head over to Whiterun and give this stone to Farengar. But first, wouldn't you like to stop by Riverwood? You know, to return the claw back to Lucan and get our reward, then enjoy a nice, well-deserved rest. Alright, let's head back over there. Did not expect that. I didn't expect... Wait, let me process this whole thing. You killed a dragon. Then this weird soul thingy started flowing outside of it, and into you. And now the dragon is nothing more than bones again. And you are... Did I just hear Dragonborn? Even back before I was locked up, the whole Dragonborn thing was a pretty big deal. Legendary, actually. From what I've heard at least, the Dragonborn, or Dovahkiin, was a mortal blessed with the blood and soul of a dragon by Akatosh himself, the chief of the Divines. And legend says this Dragonborn may also have the ability to use the Thu'um, dragon shouts. And I think we've seen you do that just now. So, what are you? In any case, though, I think we should head back to the Jarl. It's been a long day.
Nonsense. Why, you puffed up ignorant. These are our sacred traditions that go back to the founding of the First Empire.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still a bit dazed from everything that's been going on.
Disrespect, of course.
It probably isn't
Just
easy
that-
for you,
What do these graybeards
having all
want with
this
her?
burden suddenly piled on your back. But hey, I'm
Not
here,
ours.
and I'll help you through this.
Whatever happened when you killed that dragon?
After all, in the
It
legends I
revealed
used to
something in
read,
you.
every great hero
Greybeard's
always has a
heart.
great sidekick.
If
And
they
these
think
tales
you're
were exciting.
Dragonborn,
Hopefully
who
ours
are
will be
we to
too.
argue?
But
You'd
I can
better
tell
get
you're
up to
tired.
High
What do you
Hrothgar
say? Up for a
immediately.
little pit stop at the
There's
Bannered
no
Mayor?
refusing the summons of the Greybeards. It's a tremendous
Alright,
honor.
let's head on over. Dragonborn.
I envy you, you know. To climb the 7,000 steps again. I made the pilgrimage once. Did you know that? High Hrothgar is a very...
Foot of the mountain. This seems like we've got some distance to cover from here to High Hrothgar. So I think it might be wise to rest up for a bit.
You'll probably hear them coming.
And grab some supplies if we can. Though it doesn't seem like this town has a general goods store. Yeah, food mainly. But it's always good to have a good supply packed up for adventuring. Wouldn't want to have a grumbling belly in the middle of a dungeon delve. If you aren't a vampire, of course. But even they need to feed. I can see it in your eyes. I know what you're thinking. No, don't worry. I'm not going to go feral on the populace or anything. I'm a daughter of Cold Harbor, a pure-blooded vampire. I can hold my own, even without feeding for a while. I can even eat normal food. While it doesn't sustain me per se, it helps with the whole hunger thing. Or at least, I think it does.
I'm more of a heavy armor woman myself, but it's nice.
Thinking about it, it seems regular. Other than the highest mountain in all of Tamriel looming over it. I'm surprised it doesn't get any visitors. Even the mountain, actually. Who wouldn't want to scale the throat of the world? Maybe it's just me, being the adventuring type and all. It seems most people would be at ease just sitting around reading books all day. Well, I did that, but people should just go out and explore, you know?
It may not be the typical image of true Nords, but the Greybeards deserve equal respect.
I am, actually. I would have been just a bit nervous, but I'm glad you're on my side. I've seen your shouts, and they're pretty powerful. Couple that with me and my arcane powers, we could tackle just about any foe. Likewise. Let's get moving, mighty hero.
Thane.
Yes? Do you need something? The moment I met you, I knew your blood had some power to it. Turns out you have the literal blood of a god. Who would have figured? I've also noticed that your shouts, or whatever you call it, can be rather loud and uncomfortable.
My father told me to
You
visit
probably
his
don't
home
feel it,
without
but just
being afraid again.
try not to hit me the next time we get into a fight with some people, okay? I definitely would not like getting blown halfway across the continent of Tamriel. Are you even taking this seriously? I also wouldn't like to accidentally drain you to a pulp. Good. Glad we sorted that one out.
Contrary to popular belief, there's actually plenty of game out on.
It's a village in the middle of a swamp. What else would I think? Not really my thing. I personally won't ever want to come here unless I really have a reason to. If I could offer some advice, let's not hang around here for too long. Definitely not what I was looking forward to in exploring Skyrim.
Morthal used to be a quiet place, but then the world used to make sense.
Thalmor invade again.
I mean, as much as anyone would, not a lot. I've also studied a little bit on my own, but there's not much. All I do know is that Ustengrav is an ancient Nordic burial tomb of this Jorgen Windcaller, a prominent Nord of legend from the First Era. He also knew how to shout, just as you do. Was he a Dragonborn? That, I don't know. Nope. Nothing. I just know about the person who was supposedly buried here. Lake Falls Barrow was a piece of cake, so I don't imagine this one would be too hard. Ah, damn it. After everything we've been through, we just get this? A note? A piece of paper? Come on! And how did these thieves manage to sneak past an entire Nordic ruin without waking up any of the Draugr, setting off any of the traps, or looting anything else? Talk about a prank. It's just like they wanted us to go through this whole dungeon for some reason. Why didn't they just send a private note? I guess you're right. Sorry about that. I know you're just trying to help. Thanks. Let's get moving then. I don't have the faintest idea. Well, they might be someone from Riverwood, or they might be from somewhere else. They might be luring us into a trap for all we know. I've heard stories of people being abducted in inns. Sometimes the innkeepers even collaborate with the perpetrators. I'm just saying to keep your guard up. Be ready for anything. And if the situation does go south, find the horn as soon as we can and get out of there. If these guys really turn out to be our friends, though, then good. It would always be nice to have more allies, especially during these turbulent times. What now?
Contrary to popular belief, there's actually plenty of game out on the tundra. It's a great place to hunt.
Friend was none other
That's
than
better.
Delphine.
Let's get on the road to
That's a
Kynes Grove.
relief. I like that. Kind of not cool for her
The
to
giants
steal the
won't hurt
horn
you
and
if
all
you
that.
stay away from them.
But
they
hey,
usually have a lot of gold
I'm
stashed
alright
in
with
their
it now.
camps. Gods know what they do with
what
it.
matters is that she doesn't harbor any evil or malicious intentions. Yes, she might be a bit prickly,
Happy trails.
but I think it'll be nice to have her on our side.
I'm more of a
Now,
heavy armor
I think we
woman
should get
myself.
going. A
But it's
dragon
nice to
coming back
carry
from
a
the
lighter
dead
load.
seems like a pretty big deal, to say the least. To a party, and what makes it more interesting is that there's going to be a little heist or thievery work while we're there. Ooh, spicy. It's kind of like in some of the stories I used to read. Classic espionage.
We'll drive out the storm cloaks and restore what we own. With our blood and our
And
soul.
you aren't? It's a party. A Thalmor one. But they'd still have the finest wine. And the most exquisite food. A good break from what we've been eating recently.
We will drink and we'll
I also think you probably know this by now, but I'm not all gloom and dreary. I do have interests, and two of them just happen to be high-end parties and
I'm
alcohol.
more of a heavy armor woman myself. But it's nice
This
to carry a
land
lighter
is
load.
ours, and we'll see it wiped clean.
Oh,
of the
and
scourge
you're
that
a
has
saint?
sullied our hopes and
Come
our
on now.
dreams.
I enjoy the pleasantries of life. Nothing wrong about that.
What can I do for you?
Oh, we only got one invitation to the party, but do you think I could still come too? Maybe I could use a charm spell on the manor guard, or perhaps I could just use my arcane arts to sneak past
Plenty of
everyone.
Thalmor patrols come through this part of Skyrim. We should be careful.
Alright then. If I could ask a favor though, do try to bring home some fine Colovian brandy. I really would appreciate it. I'll wait here, at the inn. Just don't take
Between
too
you and
long,
me, I'm not
okay?
sure Jarl Elisif is suited to be the High Queen. She's half a decade younger than I am.
Finally, you're back.
By all accounts, General Tullius
Do
is a
you
practical
have the
genius
brandy?
and a good man. Solitude is lucky to be under his protection.
But do you have it? Thank you. So, anyway, how did it go?
I've lived in Skyrim my whole life and never left. I'd like to visit Cyrodiil
Who?
someday, though. My father told me to visit Westwall before the Thalmor invade again.
Esbern, eh? I think he might be someone Delphine would know. Just a hunch. Anyway, I think it's best if we head back over to Riverwood, get your stuff, and see what she has to say.
Need something?
Interesting place. I hardly
As then, was never really too fond of the place myself. But hey, if that's where we'll find Esbern, that's where we're going. Do be prepared to brace yourself, though. If I were a betting woman, we'd most definitely be going through the Ratway and Riften sewers. You. That kind of thing doesn't even exist. At least to my knowledge. It's worth looking into, though. Anyway, enough mucking about. Let's
watch
do
out for
this.
theirs. Never mind. You'll
Goodbye.
Yeah, sure. You too, Delphine. You be safe.
Looks like we're going to this Skyhaven temple. Not much. But what I read about it seems to
Giants won't
confirm
hurt
what
you if you
Delphine
stay
and
away from
Esbern are
them.
saying.
But they usually have
It
a
used
lot
to
of
be a
gold
base of
stashed in their
operations for the
camps.
Blades in
Gods
Skyrim.
know
It
what
was
they do with it.
supposedly a thing, and functioning thousands of years ago. Back before, I got locked up. In any case, though, I think we'd find more answers if we follow these two. Oh. What a day. Phew. I never thought I'd get to see a Blades temple, and an immense one at that. Skyrim, and by extension Tamriel, truly do have some wonderful and truly amazing things to see. Which is why I wouldn't want this world to come to an end, either
They
by
say the Reach
Alduin's
used to be
hands
the only
or
part of
someone
Skyrim
else's.
that wasn't covered in snow.
There may be evil here, and sometimes things may suck, but there is some good to strive and keep fighting for, you know? Fought Alduin, and managed to drive him off. And you did most of the work. At least with your whole dragon run thing. That shout, it's truly something else.
I'm more of a
But
heavy armor
what is it I
woman
just
myself,
heard? We
but
need
it's
to
nice to
trap
carry
a
a lighter
dragon
load.
in Dragon's Reach? I don't know if that's more stupid or plain insane. If you have a better lead than this, I'm all ears. Off to a suicide mission
I
it
was
is then,
crippled in Whiterun
and
for too
convince the
long.
Jarl to aid
It's
us in
good to be
it.
traveling
After
again.
everything we've been through, this should damn better work. Let's just get this over with.
We do.
If he's not with us, he's against us.
They used to call
knows that.
Windhelm the
We all
City
know
of
that.
Kings, in my books anyway.
How long are you going
Not
to
all
wait?
that regal in my opinion, though.
think I need to
Well,
send Borgruff a
other than the
stronger
giant
message?
placards of the past Jarls
If
here.
by message you mean shoving a
Though,
sword through
that's
his
basically the
gunnels.
only regal thing going on for
Taking the city
Windhelm.
and
Not
leaving
very
it in
kingly
disgrace
to be
would make a
racist
more
towards a
powerful
certain
state,
minority
don't you
group.
think?
I
So
know
we're
the
ready to
Dunmer
start
don't have a
this war in
particularly
earnest then?
race-inclusive track record either, especially to the
I still
Argonians
say
back
you
then.
should take them all out like you did dead
But
King
someone
Torrik.
should still break the wheel, you
Torrik
know?
was merely a message to the other Jarls. Whoever
Right behind